Two friends were arguing. They were really good friends, but they argued so fiercely that they decided to part ways. They went their separate ways and they didn't speak to each other for days. One of them was thinking about how bad his friend had treated him, how badly he had spoken to him, and he felt terrible. He took a stick of chalk and wrote on the wall of his house, "My friend betrayed me today." He wanted to let the world know how bad his friend had treated him. Days passed and the pain remained. But one day the same friend showed up at his house. He came to apologize, and when he saw what he had written on the wall, he felt even worse. The friend who had written on the wall felt terrible. So in order to make amends, he picked up a chisel and carved into a stone, "My friend saved me today." The other friend was confused. He asked, "Why did you write the bad things about me in chalk and carve the good things in stone?" And the friend replied, "Because chalk fades quickly and so should my anger. But kindness must be remembered forever, like words carved in stone." Friends, this is a very important lesson in life. We have to learn how to let go of hurts quickly, but hold on tightly to acts of kindness. When someone does something bad to us, we tend to hold on to that pain, sometimes for years and years. But we have to understand that holding on to that pain is like writing it in stone. It will always be there, and it will only hurt us. On the other hand, when someone does something kind for us, we should hold on to that as if it were gold. We should cherish it, we should value it, because that is what will bring us happiness. Not the bad things, but the good things. So my friends, let us be quick to listen, slow to speak, and even slower to anger. Let us remember the good and forgive the bad. Let us write the bad in chalk and carve the good in stone. Then, and only then, will our lives become lighter. We will not be weighed down by the hurts and the pains of the past. Instead, we will be filled with the joy and the happiness of the present moment.
Thank you.
One day, a teacher drew a long line on the blackboard. He turned to his students and asked, "Who can make this line shorter without touching it?" The class started whispering among themselves. Some said, "How can you make it shorter? You have to touch it." Others argued, "It's impossible." "It's a trick question." But one student stood up, walked up to the board, and drew an even longer line right next to it. The teacher smiled and said, "Now the first line looks shorter, doesn't it?" without being erased. The students all looked at each other, surprised. Then the teacher said, "In life, don't waste your time trying to cut others down. The best way to rise is not by making others smaller, but by making yourself bigger." The little boy pondered these words. He thought about how he could apply them to his life. He realized that instead of focusing on his own growth, he often tried to pull others down to his level. He would get angry when his friends did better than him and would feel jealous of their success. But now he understood that the only way to truly succeed was to focus on himself and not on others. He thanked the teacher for the valuable lesson and went out into the world determined to make something of himself. Years passed and the boy grew up. He became a successful man and was known throughout the land for his wisdom and kindness. People from all over came to him for advice, because they knew that he had a simple philosophy that guided him through life. Whenever he saw someone who was better than him, instead of feeling envy, he felt inspired. He realized that they could do something that he could unend that made him strive to be better. He knew that by focusing on himself and not on others, he would eventually become the best version of himself. So if you ever feel like you're falling behind, remember the boy who raced with the wind. Don't waste your time trying to pull others down. Instead, focus on growing yourself. Become bigger, better, and wiser. And when you do, you'll see that everything else will fall into place. You may even find that the things you once struggled with become easier than you ever imagined. So don't compare yourself to others. Just focus on becoming the best version of yourself and the rest will come easy. A young man visited his old teacher after many years. When he entered the house, he noticed an empty chair placed next to the teacher's desk. He found it very strange because every time he visited, the chair was always there. So he finally gathered his courage and asked, "Why do you keep this chair here? You don't even sit in it. Why not throw it away?" The teacher smiled and said, "This chair reminds me to leave space in my mind and heart. If the chair is always occupied, there will be no room for anyone new. My mind is too full of pride and my heart too full of judgment. I cannot welcome new ideas or new people." The young man thought, "How true is this? I too have so many opinions, complaints, and worries crowding my mind. There's hardly any space left for anything new. He realized that his life was like a crowded room filled with unnecessary things. He thanked the teacher and went back home. After a few weeks, the young man came back to see his teacher. And as he entered the house, he noticed that the old chair was still there. But now, there was a beautiful flower pot in the space beside it. Surprised, he asked, "I see you still have the chair here, but now there is also a flower pot. Can I ask you something?" The teacher said, "Of course, my child." "Ask me," the young man said. "You told me last week that you keep this chair to remind yourself to leave space in your mind and heart for new ideas and people. But how can we actually do that? How can we make room for new things in our lives?" The teacher smiled and said, "This is a very good question. Just like we need to water this plant every day to keep it alive in the same way. We need to make space in our minds every day to welcome new ideas and opportunities. When we water the plant, we are also removing all the dried leaves and extra branches. In the same way, we must let go of our worries, complaints, and wrong opinions. Only then can we welcome wisdom, kindness, and love into our lives." Friends, this is the story of the empty chair. This story teaches us to be open to new ideas and to make room for them in our lives. When we leave room in our hearts and minds, we allow wisdom, kindness, and new opportunities to enter. But if we fill ourselves with pride and clutter, nothing new can grow. So just like the teacher, we should keep a chair or a corner in our life empty. It will help us to welcome all the positive things that life has to offer.